Millions of dollars in foreign investment for the island of Exuma. The multi-million-dollar February Point development is preparing to begin its next phase of development centered around hundreds of jobs and spin-off opportunities.
Well, today, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie, while officially opening the latest phase, sent a strong message to Exuma residents. Clint Watson was in Exuma and has this report.
We are open for business. We're ready to moving forward with what we got to do.
Developer of February Point, just located outside of Georgetown, Exuma, John McCarvey, says this latest phase of the club, restaurant, and spa is a stepping stone to the resort's future operation. He described the spot, surrounded by the most beautiful waters, people, and property, as simply the gem of the world. The development's expansion is in its second year since the acquisition from its previous owners.
This was my vision to get the plaza built, get the floating docks done. This year, we're moving ahead with the 20-plex. You see the 20-plex coming up to the second level. From that, you'll see four more buildings, total of 5 units in each building. We'll have the first one ready for occupancy by the end of the year. We are then going to start, to my left, our penthouses. The penthouses are going to be over water with the thankness of the government approving us to build over the water. We're going to have buildings that we've known around the world for the Aquarius at February Point. You'll be able to drive your boat underneath, come in your elevator, and come up to your suite. Nobody's got that. We're going to be the first.
The resort boasts of its environmentally sound construction. A highlight of the development is the floating dock, a feature that ensures the crystal waters aren't disturbed. With millions of dollars already invested and lots more on the way through this $40 million investment, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie issued this strong message to Bahamians and even more so, Exumians.
The entrepreneurial spirit of the Exumians will flourish through vertical linkages with resource projects. Along with the usual hospitality positions and retail services and businesses, a plethora of professions will be available to Bahamians. Small business opportunities will exist in areas such as the marina services, retail sales, farming, ferry transportation, boat tours, fishing excursions, water sports, arts and craft, entertainment, spa and wellness, and an array of other entrepreneurial opportunities.
February Point developers envision elevating a new city of Georgetown with sporting and business facilities, schools, entertainment district, government complexes, just to name a few. The Prime Minister further allayed fears that the price of investment will compromise the country's natural resources.
The sustainable development practices are adhered to by foreign investors for the safety of marine, land, and air environs. More importantly, the interests of Bahamians, our country's most precious natural resource, will be protected by the government of the Bahamas.
And already the impact of this resort is being felt on the island, not just through job provision, but also through its financial impact and donations to local organizations. In Georgetown, Exuma, Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Well, from Exuma, we travel south to San Salvador, where the international airport there is being transformed into a world-class facility. The development will also be a model for airports throughout the Family Islands.
During a tour of the project, the area member of Parliament and Works Minister said he was pleased with the progress. Janina Ferguson has that.
Months after Hurricane Joaquin's 130-mile-per-hour winds ripped through the San Salvador International Airport, it is not only receiving a much-needed facelift, but an expansion that was long in the works. Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis toured and inspected the ongoing construction that is expected to be completed within days.
Very often, a plane of over 300 persons landing have to line up on the tarmac in hot sun following a 10-hour flight from Europe, and that was uncomfortable. And so now, as you can see, the expansion will accommodate these passengers as they land to come into a comfortable venue. This area will be ready for use by next week, Monday.
Davis noted the essential role the international airport plays on the island. Club Med has been an anchor resort drawing in guests daily from France by the hundreds. Contractor Kirk Williams said, given this security concern, every effort is being made to ensure that the expanded airport meets international standards.
We are all aware of the circumstances that exist with France and ISIS, so the security measures that we are putting in place that is second to none. That San Salvador is not a weak link to the international, into America. We are pulling out every stop to bring this world class. Whatever you can think of, you will find here in this airport, including concession stands, CCTV you'll be amazed how far this security measures is going.
He also discussed what the scope of work it entails and employment opportunities it has created on the island.
Of an average of at least about 60 to 70 workers, with roughly about 15 to 20% out of San Salvador and the balance out of Nassau, in order to complete the project in the timeline, in order to make it happen.
Now, Davis said at this time the total cost of work at the facility is still being calculated as work continues.
And as you know, this was building on an existing building. We saw the need to do further expansions, and therefore I have not had that number yet, but I expect that it would be a bit more than the 1.5 that was originally planned.
From San Salvador, I'm Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
The recovery continues for residents in Crooked Island that bore the brunt of Hurricane Joaquin last year.
And on Thursday, officials advanced efforts, another step injecting thousands of dollars into the local economy through rebuilding efforts. Cleopatra Murphy has this report.
4 contractors on Crooked Island have been awarded contracts totaling more than $250,000 to repair government buildings left in shambles following a beating from Hurricane Joaquin last year. The men signed contracts Thursday to begin work on the Department of Environmental Health, the Teachers and Administrators' Residence, the Land Rail Point and Colonel Hill Clinics, the Administrative Complex, and Airport Terminal. The damage to some facilities disrupted normal operations, and the Minister for Local Government, the Honorable Hope Strawn, says the completion of repairs will allow a return to normalcy. She highlighted another aspect that will make an impact.
These contracts, I believe, are significant in that the contractors are all from the island. And I think it's important for us to be able to not only engage those persons here who are capable and who have the talent and able to get the work done, but also to provide form of employment to the citizens of the island.
Contractors Lorenzo Moss and Clinton Scavella anticipate that once work begins, they will be completed within a few months. They intend to be as efficient and effective as possible.
We're looking at about 3 months, I think. 3 months is ample time to get it all sorted and have it up and running. I think it's providing everything like as planned.
When you're doing repair work, you're always running into stuff which you don't expect. So repair work is always hard. And then the pressure go other ways, but people don't really understand what you're going through on a day-to-day basis.
More than 3 months after the storm, Island Administrator Francita Neely says residents are still trying to pick up the pieces. She was one of those displaced and says work on government facilities will signal the return of normalcy.
My residence is not livable, my office is not operable, and so the environmental health building is not, the social services building is not. Fortunately, the clinics, under the circumstances, we were able to occupy them because, it's very important that the people get medical attention. But all of those other buildings are very, very important, in particular the administrator's office, because that's the life of the island.
Area Member of Parliament, the Honorable V. Alfred Gray, and officials from the National Emergency Management Agency that conducted assessments and selected the contractors were a part of the delegation that traveled to the island. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.